All right, so it's getting to be time to get this car over to the dealership and get the TCM looked at. The warranty, I believe, is going to run out in June of 2025, so that's only a couple of months away. But before I take it, there's one more thing that I want to check. So in the previous video where I went over some things on this transmission, I did check things like the shift actuators, the grounding straps. I checked to make sure that the shift forks were working smoothly. So I kind of felt like it was the TCM at that point, but there is one more thing that I want to check. I get a couple of codes. So right now I'm getting like 6 transmission codes, but 2 of them one is P287B, which can be related to either the shift drum stop or the TCM, and also the P2831. Okay, so those 2 codes, the P287B and the P2831, could mean TCM. They also could mean the shift drum stop on the transmission case. So right now what I want to do is I want to check the shift drum stop on the transmission case. So to do that I have to pull the TCM. So we're going to dig in and pull out the airbox and the TCM and test the shift drum stop. All right, so let's dig this airbox out of the way. So there's just some things to unclip. This is the mass airflow sensor. There we go. And there's a hose clamp down here that connects it to the intake. That's a 7mm. On mine, it's 7mm. It might be 8, depending on when yours was made. Alright, that hose clamp is loose. Let me get the hose off. There it goes. Got the hose off. This hose needs to disconnect here. There we go. And we can undo this. That might just pop out, but I'm just going to unscrew this and take it out. Let's see. It's still going to pop out. There we go. This can disconnect. Come on. Come on. There we go. Alright, now there is like a plug in the bottom that kind of holds it in, so you just gotta lift. Let's see. Can I get my hand down there? There it is. All right, and then you have this one, which you just lift that, and you just lift the collar. There it goes, and then you can disconnect that, and the airbox is out. All right, and your TCM is way down here. All right, to get the battery out, I'm going to take off these 2 terminals. They are just a couple of 10mm bolts. Just going to loosen them enough so that I can slide it off. Tuck this out of the way. Pop this cover off. So getting the battery hold down out. There it goes. Alright, let's get the battery out. That's interesting. Why is that all wet in there? This car's been sitting inside for a year. There's no good reason for that to be wet in there. That's got to be oil. Looks like oil. 'Cause, 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 don't know, kept stuff from getting rusty. But we need to get this PCM off, and there's 2 bolts here. I believe they are 8 millimeters. Let's see. They are indeed. Okay, that's all right. And then there's 3 of those 10 mils. Yep, 10 millimeter bolts in the bottom that hold the tray on. I have to clean that out with something. And there's 3 nuts that hold this bracket on. And yeah, they are also 10 millimeters. Yeah. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to put some penetrating oil on those, see if we can get through the rust. Okay. I think that one's the least rusty. Seems like that maybe is going to move. I don't think it broke. No, it's good. Okay, that one's moving. I'm going to kind of move it back and forth a little bit. Yeah, I think we're doing all right. That seems like that's going to come loose. All right, that one's okay. Last one. Okay, that started to move. Let's move it back a little bit. Why does it do that? Okay. I think we're moving all right. Yay, success. I was worried about that. Alright, now that's loose, but it is... Yeah, there's a clip here that is holding the wiring harness to it. Let's see if we can't use this to pry it out. Yeah, there we go. So, no, there's another one over here. All right, now got that out of the way. All right, so the wiring harness, all right, that'll come out of the way. All right, so right here is the grounding. There's a grounding strap that goes over to the transmission. So we're gonna take that off, get that out of the way. Come on, let go. All right. So there's the screw for to hold the grounding strap on. I can get that out of the way. Okay, well, let's see. Can I do the bottom one? Just kind of working it up and down. So it is, you can see the handle is moving up. Can you? I think you can. Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, okay. I put a light down below so you can see what's going on here. So I did flip this handle up, pushed these I don't know what they help lock these sliders that help lock the plug into place. So now I should be able to pull that off. It doesn't want to budge. Let's see if we can get the top one off. But I'm just kind of, working this up and down a little bit to get these slides to move. So you can spray some penetrating oil in there. In fact, I'm going to try that. See if I can lube them up a little bit here. See if they move a little smoother. There we go. And that's off. All right, that one came off. So let's see if we can get that out of the way. Come on. There we go. All right, got that up and out of the way. Now let's see if we can get this bottom one out. And do the same thing, try and spray a little penetrating oil in there, see if we can loosen it up a little bit. There we go. All right, flipping that handle up did not pull the clip all the way out. So, is it still not all the way out? No, now it's off. Okay. That was fun. All right, now the only thing holding the TCM in are 4 bolts. Get that out of the way. So there's one up here, there's one up here, one here, one on the bottom there, and one on the back side. So, yeah, this one's going to be kind of hard to get to. Well, I think it'll be all right. This will move out of the way. There we go. Now we got room. And what size are those? Are those 10 millimeters? Where's my 10 mil socket? They are. Okay. All right. So, and also, you know, the first one that I took out in the back is short. So the other three are going to be this long. All right. Okay, so that came out. Now you'll notice there is an O-ring on here. And there is not one on this side. That means that it is still in the hole or something. So yeah, there it is. So you want to make sure that you don't accidentally leave that in there. But let's see here. Let's stick. So there's a gear in the top hole that moves, and you want to make sure that there is a stop. So it should go around. I'm just moving it by finger here. It should go around and get to a point where it stops moving, and then you'll know that the stop is still there. There, I've hit a place where I doesn't want to go any farther. So that should be a stop. So I'm going to put this back in. This was the last thing we took out. First thing going back in. Put the TCM back in here. Okay. I put the bottom plug back in. So that, lock it back into place. That's locked in. Get the top one in. There we go. There we go. Flip the handle back up, and that's locked back in place. Alright, so I want to make sure that this throttle cable hold down is on the bracket, on the engine mount bracket there, so that I can attach the battery hold down, battery box bracket. Let's see. Alright, there we go. Alright, and this battery box bracket just fits down on those 3 studs. I'm going to put the 3 nuts back on. And now the battery box can go back in. Oh, I know what I forgot. I knew there was something else. I got this ground strap. Okay, now we put the battery box back in. That we have the 3 bolts to hold that back in, and I did clean this out. It was full of some kind of oily residue. I don't know what it was, but I just used some brake cleaner and sprayed it out, so it's nice and dry now. All right, and reattach this. Yeah. This plastic cover. There's a hole in the bottom that needs to clip into. All right, now. Okay. All right, plop the battery back in. I got the positive terminal first. All right, pop this back on. Okay, that's on. Now we're going to get the battery hold down back in place. Okay. Put this back on. There it goes. And the airbox. Before I go too far, let's get this on. Just presses on. I think that's in place. There you go. Where'd you go? There it is. There's this. That was the front of the battery box. There we go. There's that. No, I have to pull that off. All right, so the camera shut off on me, but I did get the front panel back in place. I just had to remove the positive battery terminal and then the slid in, and then I could put the positive battery terminal back on. So, and then the last thing I need to connect is the air intake line here. So I'm going to push that on. I think I could probably loosen that maybe a little bit more. Yeah. There it goes. Now it's on. Put that back in place. And tighten it back up. All right, so I did call Ford and gave them my VIN and stuff, and they checked, and this car is still eligible for a free TCM replacement until the end of June 2025. So if you're having a problem, make sure that you get it taken care of right away, because time is getting short. I did also call a Ford dealership near me and made an appointment, so on Monday, hopefully this goes in and gets a new TCM. All right, so good news. I just got the Fiesta back from the dealership, and they did replace the TCM under warranty. So they did show me the invoice of what it would have cost if I had to pay for it out of pocket, and it was over $1,100. So I'm glad that it was covered under warranty. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to help out this channel, please consider subscribing or becoming a member by clicking the join button below. Thanks for watching. Take care.